Crypto regulations are heating up in such a large way, and almost nobody is even aware of what's coming in 2025. And in this video, I really want to talk about what's happening because I do think that what's coming in 2025 is going to take this market by storm and shock a lot of people. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you guys do, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on to never miss a future update. And with that being said, let's dive on in. So let's start off with this post here from October 31st, which was the Binance founder CZ sees positive shift in crypto regulation worldwide. His comment was very positive direction. Now, if we actually scroll down, we could see a few other quotes here. Number one was overall, cryptocurrency regulation is actually moving in a very positive direction. By June, Donald Trump is pro crypto. By the end of June, both parties are pro crypto. I'm still sitting in prison like, what the hell happened? And we have, down here as well, this is another response to like stablecoins. So we have stablecoins or digital dollars, US dollars digitized via blockchain technology are the crucial upgrade for the payment system that will revolutionize money movement, allow greater participation in the global economy, and ensure the supremacy of the US dollar for years to come. Now, as we do really kind of look at what's going on here, Mika. Mika is the big focus from my point of view because it is the only actual regulatory framework that's in place now. And by the end of this year, it will be fully adopted that we could actually go off of as an example. And we actually have here that by setting clear rules on issuance, reserve management, and redemption, Mika enhances market stability and consumer protection while also fostering innovation through legal certainty. Now, I do think that once this does get fully adopted by the end of this year, I think that we're going to start to see a big shift in the momentum even around the US market for regulations. Because again, we have something to go off of as an example. And not only is it something that we have to go off of as an example, it's also putting a lot of pressure on the US and all of these markets to finally get their things in order to push positive, innovative regulations that are not going to stifle or slow down the market, but ultimately make the market speed up in terms of adoption, acceptance, and innovations. The US cannot afford to fall behind any further. So I do think that the US is probably going to get in line very quick, which I'm definitely focused on. And I'm actually very excited about, especially for, US based companies like Ripple that are utilizing digital currency, like for an example, XRP. But outside of this, I said over here, and again, this is more so, focusing on a lot of utility projects because I do think that all utility projects will benefit greatly, even the ones that a lot of people have started to give up on. But I said, as we inch closer and closer to global crypto regulations, you must be focusing on the companies in the space that are transparent and compliant. Now, regardless of how compliant they are, regardless of, if they're working with regulators or not, just be sure to, make sure that you are diversified because no matter how safe something does look or feel or whatever, you never know what's going to happen. But I did say Ripple, regardless of what you believe because of the SEC lawsuit, is one of the most transparent companies in this space. For over a decade, they have been attempting to work with regulators, including the SEC. They have had private meetings with high-ranking individuals from the IMF, the World Bank, the BIS, central banks, etc. They recently joined the BIS CPMI group and continue to shake up the traditional market. And this is more so around finance. Now, I said regulations are being primed and they are inevitable. 99% of the space will evaporate with proper regulations because majority of this space is just noise. That 1% that's still here after regulations go live, they will reap the rewards of putting in the time, the work, and jumping through the regulatory hoops. Many have gotten rich from crypto over the years. I personally see the most amount of wealth made and created coming from mass utilization of the technology. We don't get to that point without regulations, and that's when most of the retail crowd will be out anyways due to the regulatory rug pull. Mika, stablecoin legislation, regulatory frameworks, it's all in progress, and it must be focused on. Failing to realize what's coming and how it will change this entire space will leave you missing out on one of the largest technological innovations in history. Now, talking more so about this, I have these screenshots here from Ripple's website regarding how compliant they actually are. And if you guys do want to pause the video real quick to read this, you guys are more than welcome to. And here's the second slide. As we look at what Ripple is focused on, they want to be extremely compliant. They want to make sure that they are working with the regulators every single step of the way because they know how big of an opportunity it is to be one of those legitimate companies at the forefront of this, major change. And I do think that a lot of people kind of lose focus of the target through all of the noise in this space. especially through price action, because again, the space is very volatile. So it's very easy to get caught up in the hype, and even get caught up in the negative moves as well. So I want you guys to understand what's going on here. And even over here at Ripple Swell, Stuart Alderati was speaking to Adrian Harris from the New York Department of Financial Services. And we have a quote here: "We want innovation to happen, but we want it to be careful and responsible." This is discussing the changing landscape of cryptocurrency in the US and the implications of regulations for the industry. Check this out.
How do you see, if at all, the integration of the crypto industry with TradFi?
Yeah, we see more and more interest from TradFi in the space, right? We want innovation to happen, but we want it to be careful and responsible for people to run the water through the pipes and really make sure they're thinking through unintended consequences or how the system is going to work and how it might break. And I think the TradFi folks really bring a little bit more of that sensibility to the space, which is good.
And I love the fact that she did mention, for, people to run the water through the pipes. That's because the plumbing of the financial system is being changed right now. It's changing from the traditional way of means to a digital way of means. We're getting rid of paper. We're going digital. That's the end game, right? That's what they want to do. That's exactly what they want to do with, payments and cash as well. And it's happening regardless of what we want to say, what we want to do, what we want things to look like. It's already in process. But outside of this, right, we have over here that because of regulations, Ripple will benefit greatly from cryptocurrency regulation. Big shout to Smoke Dog for this. Crypto asset regulation would draw more investors to the space and bring more order to the cryptocurrency market overall. One of the primary beneficiaries of this regulation would be Ripple, as their products allow their customers to adapt to current regulatory frameworks. Ripple assists each bank to discover and help with satisfying all regulatory obligations. You can actually see that here. Let me actually open this up in a new tab just so that you guys can actually see this. We have here that since regulation would draw more investors and bring order, it is believed that it will strengthen the entire cryptocurrency markets. Ripple stands to benefit greatly from additional regulation. Customers can adapt current regulatory goals with the aid of its products. For instance, Xcurrent, the company's tool for facilitating communication between banks, meets with current regulatory requirements. Based on individual domestic roles, Ripple assists each bank to discover and help with satisfying all regulatory obligations. Now, outside of this, here we have US regulation or US elections, right? With the countdown to the elections, the big question is what's going to happen after the election? Are we actually going to see some major moves happening around crypto regulations? In my opinion, I do believe that we will. Regardless of who gets in, I think that Gary Gensler's days are almost numbered. I also think that major movements need to take place because every other nation outside of the US is now pushing forward on regulations and crypto adoption. And I do think that the US needs to have a decision made by I would say the end of Q1 of 2025, because 2025 is shaping up to be a massive year for crypto. For an example, the Financial Stability Board to extend its work on stablecoin risk in emerging and developing economies. A lot of people overlook this because again, they're focused on the SEC, but these are the largest players out there in terms of the regulating bodies of finance. They are now pushing further major frameworks for crypto. And remember that the FSB is working with the G7 and even the G20. For an example, over here, we have international agencies report on tokenization to G20 officials. This was October 22nd of 2024. The BIS and the FSB have similar views on tokenization. It could provide new benefits and familiar challenges. And if we look into this a little bit more, this is all again regarding the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting on October 23rd and the 24th. The BIS and the FSB both released papers regarding tokenization. And we have down here, tokenization has no generally accepted definition, and the term has not been used in a standardized way in connection with various initiatives. The well-known risk of existing systems applied to tokenization, such as those related to credit and liquidity risk, custody access policies, operational and cyber risk. Again, what is actually happening here is they're preparing these frameworks. They're preparing definitions that they have to define, and they're getting everything in place to fully adopt tokenization as a service. For an example, even from Swift on October 17th said that the BIS Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures, the CPMI group, has just released a new API harmonization toolkit. It's designed to improve the speed, transparency, and accessibility of cross-border payments in line with the G20's targets. Remember that Ripple is a part of this. Now, everything's aligning with the FSB's recommendations for a global regulatory framework. Even India is supporting this. Very interesting, especially when you go over here to this report from Subjective Views. Financial Stability Board issues new report that states the majority of countries expect to have a regulatory framework for crypto assets by 2026. G20 crypto asset policy implementation roadmap. And if we look at this roadmap, here we have the expected time to reach alignment with the FSB framework. We could see that most of it is around 2026. Again, global stablecoin recommendations is 2025. So I would argue that stablecoin recommendations, aka regulations, will be in place by the end of 2025. And 2026 is all based around all of crypto. So we are going to see some very significant moves in the next 12 to 24 months over regulations. This is going to be a game changer for the entire industry, especially those utility projects. And even over here, let's go back to 2023 on who these groups are that are all a part of this. The FSB, the IMF, the BIS papers to set global crypto framework, says G20. The G20 is a part of this with the FSB, with the IMF, and with the BIS, all to bring about a global crypto regulatory framework by the end of 2025. That's their focus. And they want this to ultimately be in place so that major mass adoption can take place. Even here, they say widespread adoption. So as we really look at what's going on here, I want you all to understand that these are the players that are working on this. And even, more interesting, if we go back to November of 2023, the IMF and the World Bank and the BIS were the first ones in on this tokenization collaboration. And this is when they start to push tokenized financial instruments. Now, remember what all this is a part of, right? This is all a part of that collaboration that they have been calling for so long. We actually have here that we will work together to simplify the process for making development money available for emerging and developing economies. Now, remember what this is all a part of. This is all a part of the Finternet, the financial system for the future. And even over here, if we go to April 3rd of this year, we have Central Bank Group starts tokenization project to enhance monetary system. This is literally a solution to integrate tokenized commercial bank deposits with central bank money using smart contracts and programmability with the largest organizations out there around our financial economy. This is to bring about a massive change of the monetary system from paper-based, from traditional ways, to introduce the new plumbing to the monetary system, aka the digital revolution. This is ongoing right now. And focus on the players that are a part of this, because they're also the ones pushing for a global crypto regulatory framework, which, by the way, the FSB is the same organization that allowed Ripple to comment on global regulatory the same global regulatory framework. They recommended what they wanted to see in this framework. Ripple did back in December of 2022, while in the middle of the lawsuit without any major win at all on Ripple's side, and they were still able to comment on the framework. Think about how crazy that is. And then we have in the summer of 2023, Ripple joining the BIS's CPMI group. And we also know that the IMF has been closely tied back to Ripple as well. Isn't it kind of crazy? It almost feels as though Ripple is all a part of this plan with these organizations to bring about regulations for this space, and also for Ripple to take over once regulations are in place. And I don't mean take over the entire space or anything like that. I'm just saying that Ripple is going to basically win the lawsuit, be out of the lawsuit, and have free range over the traditional markets. I also think that XRP and Ripple, both of them, are going to see very, very positive developments and expansions after regulations are in place, just like we see over here, where we have Ripple will benefit greatly from cryptocurrency regulation. I do believe that they will, especially considering all the work that they have put in, everything that they have done in just the last, I want to say 11 months. because all of 2024 has been very bullish for Ripple and even XRP. A lot of people don't even think about it, but you know, it's because they're focused on just one thing, which is the chart. I truly think that everyone should be focusing on all of the positive developments that we have been watching around Ripple and even around the XRP Ledger ecosystem. So with that being said, I do think that everyone should prepare for 2025. I think that that is the year where we start to see major regulatory discussions and moves being made. I also think that by 2026, we'll have regulations in place, and that is where everything changes for a lot of these utility projects. I keep telling you guys, prepare for regulations because it's going to shock a lot of people that are not prepared because they're still looking at meme coins and they're still looking at, you know, where the big hype is. I'm telling you guys, utility projects, plant your seeds now, forget about them, wait for regulations to hit, and you won't have to worry about a single thing, in my opinion. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.